Welcome back, everybody. Today I'm joined by Darl Everett and Logan Euker. We're here for episode 6 of Aqua Eagle Chats. Today we got two sprint freestylers on the podcast. Super exciting episode for y'all. Before we get started, Darl, Logan, how are you guys doing tonight?
Pretty good.
Pretty good. Just got back from class, living the dream, you know?
That's what's up. And guys, for my guests out there that don't know, Logan swims at University of Hawaii. So it's around 7 where me and Darl are, but Logan's chilling around 1 o'clock. So we appreciate him taking the time. So thanks for joining us.
Of course, man. Of course.
All right. So just to get started with all my guests, I love to hear about the journeys, how you got in the sport, what's continued to push you through it. So take me back to the beginning of when it all started. How did you get into swimming? And when did you really decide to start taking it seriously?
So for me, I had a kind of, not normal start. I started swimming year round when I was like 15, like end of my sophomore year, summer of my junior year. So I've been swimming for 6 years now, about 5 or 6 years. But I mean, I got into it a while before that. I was in swim lessons, and then I went to the end of those, and then I did high school swim, and then I was like, okay, I'm kind of enjoying this, and so I started swimming for some RVA, and I just never stopped. I took it seriously from day one when I started there.
I feel like that's where all the swim RVA guys come from. Like that, I feel like, especially at that team, like all you guys like weren't really like swimming your entire lives, and then you like get into it, and then you get like fast out of nowhere.
Yeah.
I swam for a long time for the Y and like summer league, and those coaches did a lot for me, but definitely in 9th grade when I started swimming with Jonathan, swim RVA's coach, like that's when it took off for me. But Logan, what about you, man? What did that journey look like?
Yeah, so I'm kind of like on the opposite side of the spectrum, I'd say. Like I had always just been around the pool. Like I have an older sister who started swimming before me. And so I'd been doing swim lessons since I was like 3 or 4. And then one day I was just watching my sister at practice. And there's this old Rays coach. He's no longer with us. His name was Mike Klesner. And he just came up to me and asked if I wanted to swim with him one day. And then I've just been swimming since then, like haven't really looked back. And just like constantly chasing that dream of getting better and better each day.
Yeah, man, I totally get it. So, Logan, were you in club swimming from the start, or did you just start out with like summer league?
I technically like my first year swimming, I wasn't even on like the team. Like I just was like practicing, but my first like practices were with Rays, and then I started summer league that summer.
Got it. Yeah, cool, man. Swimming's really big up here in Fredericksburg, so it's kind of interesting. We took over your hometown a little bit, man, and you're living the life out there in Hawaii, so I find that pretty funny. But I think one thing that goes kind of overlooked, especially for me, is swimming is a big part about the team, right? Like we all train hard together and we celebrate each other's successes. And so I can think of examples of moments where I've been happy for a teammate for getting that cut or committing to a college or something like that. So are there any moments along the way of friends or family members that did something big in the sport that really pushed you and motivated you?
Honestly, Paul, I think one for me was you when you broke 52 and 100 back for the first time at senior champs. Was that our junior year?
Senior year, yeah.
Senior year? Yeah, that was one thing. That was when I really understood like where all the work came from, because at that point our groups were like pretty separate, so we didn't really get to interact that much. But that was when I understood, like, okay, I'm not like the only one putting in this much work at practice and going for something like that you think is unachievable, but you're like, there's always a shot.
For me, it was like, I could think of something more recent, like 2 of my roommates, and then they're my teammates as well here. They qualified for NCAAs in the 4x50 relay. And I think like they were like, at NCs, they split like 18-9 and then 19-0s, 19-1s. And that just like watching that, just like, and watching people you train with every day go that fast just really kind of lights a fire inside of you to try to chase them and get as quick as them.
Yeah, man, I can definitely relate. I remember in high school, I was always training with this guy, Jack Huffner, and he was a year older than me, and he'd always beat me in all the backstroke sets and stuff. But I knew that I was always trying to break his records the next year when I turned his age. So he definitely pushed me, man. And we had a couple of battles in college because he swam for Catholic University and we raced each other at some dual meets. But eventually he stepped away from the sport. He's doing some engineering now, which I don't think his school had a program for that. But moving on, so we did touch about college and stuff, right? Darl, you go to the same school as me.
Mhm.
Logan, I remember kind of when you were going through that process because I met you a little bit before then. But if you guys could walk me through how that recruiting process went, I'd love to hear about what the steps were for you guys.
I mean, honestly, Paul, you kind of recruited me because I was about to go to a different school, and you texted me and you said you should look at Mary Washington, and I filled out the prospect questionnaire, or whatever. And I remember Coach got back to me within the hour, and we set up a Zoom call, and I visited and toured a little bit, and I was like, okay, I get to swimming college, so I'm gonna go here. It was honestly a no brainer for me. I knew I wanted to swim in college, but I didn't think I'd have the opportunity. And then it presented itself here, and so I never looked back.
For me, it was kind of just like all over the place. Like I started the recruiting process like a little bit earlier, but I didn't really like fully commit to a school until like like the beginning of my senior year. My whole thing was just kind of like casting a wide net. Like I was filling out questionnaires from like schools at like all levels. Like I filled out the questionnaire for UMW. I tell Ryan this all the time. I filled out the UMW questionnaire, and then they didn't really get back to me, so that one kind of hurt a little bit. But yeah, so I narrowed the process down to like during lockdown. Like I feel like that's important to mention. Like we had COVID lockdown during it, so I was able to really like hone in on that recruiting, and I would have like try to do a one phone call every day or every other day with schools until I narrowed it down to my top 3. And then eventually it just came down to where I thought would be the best fit and the best sense financially.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, you guys have very different journeys where Darl, since with blooming pretty late into the sport and stuff, you kind of didn't have a ton of options. But it's interesting, though, that you guys were both pretty proactive in your recruiting processes. It wasn't necessarily that the coaches were coming to you guys. You all were the ones filling out the forms and stuff. So that's crazy about Coach Ryan, man. I know he watches these.
I
So
he's sold. But
we'll have to give him a little bit of crap about that.
Yeah, do it, bro. Do it. I feel like that's big though for like if you want to swim in college, like you gotta go out and reach out to these coaches because it's not like football or like basketball where they have like 5-star recruits and all these like recruiting databases. Like it's harder for a coach to find swimmers than in other sports. So you've got to approach them and fill out those questionnaires, email them, like DM them on Instagram, and they'll notice you.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, we've got Swim Cloud, but besides that, there's not really a ton. And especially for people like me and Darl, it's kind of hard to differentiate yourself when there's hundreds, if not thousands of kids across the country that are probably going the same times as you, but over half of them likely don't want to swim in college. They might just want to go to a big Power 5 school and just be a regular student. So if you're the one that wants to swim in college, put your own foot in the door. I like how you guys brought that stuff up. But now that we're in the college experience, so we've got 2 very different schools we're looking at here. Obviously, University of Hawaii, big D1 school. Actually, I don't know what your undergrad is, but it is Division 1.
D1.
Yeah. And then UW is like right around 3,500 to 4K undergrad. So small D3 school, but in terms of D3, it's fairly competitive. We send some kids to nationals each year, but in terms of facilities at Hawaii, I've seen you guys have got a full 50-meter Olympic-sized pool. We've got a 6-lane 25-yard pool. So I guess where I'm going with this is first to talk a little bit about training. I kind of want to see what some of these differences are like. So I'll start with Darl. You're in the sprint group every day. I'm not always over there. If you could kind of give a little bit of background over what a typical week of training looks like, how much you're going off the blocks, using resistance, things of that nature.
So I'm not really good at counting in terms of yardage, but beginning of the season, we do a lot of generalized stuff. We don't really split up too much in the beginning of the season because everyone's trying to get back in shape from the summer. But towards the middle of the season, when everything becomes more like routine, I would say we're doing like 3,000 to 4,000 for a sprint practice. And in the mornings we only have an hour, so that's usually pretty short. In the afternoons, if we break up, then it's probably the upper side of 3,000 to 4,000. Resistance we do pretty much only on Wednesdays, and that's when everybody does resistance because that's our stations day. We've done resistance outside of Wednesdays, but not too much. And then, the Monday Friday doubles are usually longer, typically mid sprint, but it's more on the mid distance side, or mid distance, but it's more on the distance side. So we get a lot more yardage than probably Hawaii sprinters would get.
Let's find out.
Yeah, I wouldn't really say we're too much of an aerobic sprint group. We get it in there more than I wish we did, but it's not as much as some other schools. So like how our practice schedule breaks down is we have morning practices that are like an hour and 45 minutes, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then another morning on Saturday that's 2 hours and like 15. And then we have afternoon practice every day. And so for the most part, during the week, those morning practices are just like aerobic, like kick the swim or pool, or just like drill sets. And then the afternoon is where we really like kind of get to work. Like in season Monday, Wednesday, Friday, we're doing power racks, and it's either on top of the water, underwaters, or like a mix of both. And then on those Tuesday and Thursdays is when they really throw the gauntlet at us with those lactate sets. Like we'll do stuff like very like maximum effort on like low rest. Like a set we have is like A100s max off the blocks on 7 minutes. And then we have other sets that are like 450s max from a push suited on 2 minutes. So it really is just like a mix of like a little bit of aerobic with a lot of power and a lot of lactate.
Yeah, that checks out. Darl, we actually did that same set
Yeah,
earlier
I
this
was
year.
thinking the same thing.
Or maybe it
The
was
A1s or 450s?
the 8 1s on 7 off the blocks.
Oh,
I think.
you guys know the
Yeah,
pain, then, bro. You guys know the pain.
I
Yeah.
know. Yeah,
We did them 6 free and 2 stroke. Did you guys do them all choice or all free?
I'm pretty sure they were all free for the most part. Like by the end though, like once you get to like 6 or like I think 6 is the hardest one in that. Like you never want to see it pull again. And then at the end of it, you're like pretty confident for your hundreds and 200s. So it's a nice set.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's one of those ones that I feel like it's honestly more mental than physical at that point. You're really digging deep. It's just who's got it in them that day, who's going to push it a little bit further. But that's good. It's good to have those kind of sets to push you out of your comfort zone every so often.
We have like dudes that in that set, because we do that like 2 or 3 times a year. And we have guys in that set that will throw down. Like they're like first one going 44, second one 45, 45, 45, and then they go like 46. And it's like they're just like dropping your best time like right in front of your face. And then like you just gotta step up. Like you can't go slow after you see that stuff, you know?
Yeah. Like, dang, that's crazy, man. The speed contrast is definitely different to what we were throwing down. That said, Darl, you talked a little bit about you didn't know exactly what the yardage is. I tracked it a little bit at the beginning of the year, but I was also more in mid distance as well. So I think we're around 35 to 40K a week, and that's with either 7 to 8 swims and like a meet. So I was trying to track like warm up, cool down, and my events too. But I think that like preseason first month we were right around like 35 to 40K, and then it started climbing up a little bit closer to 50K. So for Division 3, just from talking to some friends with other schools, like that's somewhere in the middle to upper half of the pack in terms of yardage. But after talking with Brett Hawk, that kind of opened my eyes to like, okay, you don't necessarily need to do a ton of yardage for sprinters in order to get the same results. So pretty cool to see. But one other thing Brett and I talked about, and this is a big aspect for sprinters and really all swimmers in general, is lifting. So, Darl, I know about our routine, but I'll let you tell the audience a little bit about that. But I'll be interested to hear Logan's follow-up about what Hawaii does for lifting.
Yeah, so we do Monday, Wednesday, Friday morning. We swim for an hour and lift for an hour. I don't know if they watched the podcast, but shout out our strength and conditioning staff. They are really good with riding the lifts. I enjoy them. I think the men's team also enjoys them. They're pretty intense, but they're also pretty fun. I liked that we started introducing the power lifts, like the cleans and snatches and stuff like that. I like those. Those became really fun. And doing plyometric stuff too, like the box jumps and the hurdle hops, along with like doing box squats, stuff that kind of brings the range of motion closer to mimic what you do in swimming. Because ideally, like for example, for squatting, when you're kicking, you're not going to be going like your heel all the way to your butt when you kick. It's like a short, fast motion. So you want to be able to do short, fast motions like a box squat, go down, get up fast. So just kind of keeping in mind and being able to visualize how the lifts are going to directly impact your swimming. And then some weeks we swim right after that. So then it hurts more, but you also like feel in the water the muscles that you just hit. You're like, okay, this made a difference. Like this is gonna when we taper, this is gonna be the difference between going like 47 flat and 46.99 the 100.
What's up with that UMW Hogs account? I see that all the time on my feed. It looks pretty funny.
That's our teammate Conrad Tan. He made that a year or two ago. He was big into lifting. He's about to graduate here, but yeah, he's a funny dude. He was one of the stronger guys on the team, and I think that was just one of the ways that he was trying to build up the men's team. Because like Darl mentioned, we've got a great strength coach right now, Kimlante Morris, and he brings the energy for us even early in the morning, 5:45, 6 a.m. He's yelling, hyping us up, and we're lifting with the boys, and it's a good time. But yeah, Conrad, I think, was just trying to build upon that more for off season, trying to motivate people on the team, show off the strength gains and stuff. So it's cool, good positive environment that we are building, all trying to uplift each other. But what about you, Logan? What does that sprint lifts look like for you?
Yeah, so we lift actually in the afternoons for it's supposed to be an hour, but I mean it's from 1:45 to 2:45, and if we're not in there by like 120, 125 doing our warm-up, our strength coach will have us doing plate pushes around the gym. So, but we lift, ours is, I'd say it's a little less conventional than most schools. We do a lot more, we're not really like a big, like heavy lifting program, I'd say. Like we do a lot of range of motion lifts and stuff along those lines. And we do a lot of body control workouts too. Like right now, since we're in the off season, we're in the mat room and we're doing stuff like cartwheels, handstands, flips, rope climbs, stuff like that, which I found pretty cool. But like swim specific lifts that I think have helped me the most, at least, was definitely trap bar deadlift. Just like that explosive, like that's like the one lift I feel like for swimmers you can go really heavy on and like it'll help you the most. That and cleans. And then yeah, so it's really just like we only hit one or two big movements like that. Like we'll start off each session with like either cleans, deadlifts, or squats. And then after that, it's like more range of motion workouts. Like we'll do like TRX stuff, like stuff with like light dumbbells, like we call it boulder shoulders. And that's just like making sure you're hitting that range of motion in like those areas where you don't really get too much strength work, hitting stuff like bench and other things.
Yeah, that's real interesting. So we've had Coach Kim for 2 years now, and I feel like the first year was more in line of like a bodybuilder split, upper body one day, lower body another day. But this past year, we did a lot of stuff with like TRXs, and we did more things with dumbbells and less stuff with the barbell. So that was interesting. But you talked a little bit about like the off-season stuff with the mats, and you're doing cartwheels and climbing ropes and stuff like that. And I see like Cam McAvoy and some of these guys on Instagram, they're doing stuff like that, these crazy looking plyometrics. But when you think about it, swimming is so much about working with your own body weight and understanding how your body works. So I think that's something that we don't necessarily have the resources for at our school, but in the off season, that's something I'm trying to actually take a good look at. So I appreciate you bringing that up.
Get cartwheels and headstands, stuff like that, bro. You'll like feel like you look super funny while you're doing it, but just the body control that you get from doing stuff like that will help like everything, like your underwaters, turns, technique, everything, bro.
Yeah, dude. I mean, we do some stuff like different variations of push-ups, and we'll do things like pull-ups. And I'd say that's my favorite swim-specific movement. I really feel like that works. But yeah, man, if we had ropes, that would be so much fun.
Yeah, change up.
Yes, sir. And then I guess we've talked a little bit about training and all that, but a big component of going fast and getting to the end of season results is recovery. So I'm curious to hear about, Darl, what you're doing for your recovery versus Logan, what you're doing for yours.
I mean, during the season, I'm a lot more disciplined about it. I think in the off season, I could really, I mean, since we don't have we can't have practice in the off season. We really don't have to worry about it, especially because the pool's also closed here. But during the season, I'm pretty regimented about it. I'm a little bit more restrictive about what I put in my body. I know but I've also kind of grown to know how much my body needs just to like internally. So I know I got to eat like a lot after practice and a lot after a meet just to put the energy back in my body. Because I know if I don't, then I'm going to be dead the next day. Making sure protein shakes have become essential. They're really easy, especially when you have class right after practice or right before. Having a protein shake is going to hold you over for a lot longer. Making sure eating on the bus, before the bus, when you get to the pool, eating during meets. I mean, for me, recovery it's never been just like after practice. It's what you do during the meet, after the meet, before the meet. I think all of that plays into recovery. So for me, it's like never stops.
Yeah, I think Darl hit on a good point there. Like it's really, especially on the nutrition side of things, it's really like a lifestyle that you got to live. Like you can't, especially in sprint events, like you can't really put bad fuel into your body, especially on those meet days. Like you got to make sure you're eating right. You got to make sure you're fueling well, drinking water, drinking whatever electrolyte drink you need to get. From like a physical aspect, something that's been like huge for me this year as a game changer is our team, or I guess our athletic department, brought in a sports scientist. Shout out Dr. T. He gave us a bunch of tips, like when we're flying, because we have to fly to all of our meets. We're wearing like compression sleeves on our legs, our arms. Like you're drinking like a liter of water before and after the flight because you lose a lot of water while you're flying. And then while we're at competitions or even while we're at practice, I try to do contrast between hot tubs and cold tubs. I feel like that's helped me a lot this year, especially the cold tub. And just making sure I'm stretching too. Stretching is a huge thing for swimmers, and having that good range of motion is essential, especially for those sprint events and those underwaters.
Yeah, I want to go back to one thing you said, because this is a really common misconception about sprinters, is that like we can be lazy, we can eat whatever we want, and it's not going to matter just because it's an athleticism game. But honestly, like that could not be farther from the truth, is what I've learned through our coaches, our trainers, and even people like Brett Hawk, right? Just from listening to these podcasts, it's taught me that you have to be so careful about what you're doing, when you're eating, what you're eating, how you're recovering. All that stuff goes into the final result. And so it's been really interesting for me to learn about all of that. And it's certainly just increased my passion for the sport.
Yeah.
And then Darl, you talked a little bit about this with the off season, how like right now we actually don't have a pool available to us. Not only because for Division III, you're not allowed to practice with your coaches in the off season, it's a requirement, but also because our pool's under renovation right now. But Logan, I'm curious to hear about, what does your off season training look like? Are you still full swing going into long course season?
So after our season ended, they gave us like a week off, like just to like reset mentally and physically. And then we had the option of either entering an 8-hour schedule or the full 20-hour schedule. And our coaches kind of were just really pushing like everybody on our team, even if you're not going to trials or like trying to make the Olympic team for your country, just like do the 20 hours and help push your teammates. So that's kind of what I've been doing. Just like I've been training 20 hours, doing like a full long course sprint schedule. And then I have a meet coming up in like a week and a half. So that's kind of what I've been looking to. And it's just been like staying on top of the patterns, because it's really easy to, after your season's over, to like stay motivated and stay on that grind. But it's just like keeping yourself locked in is huge, I'd say, for postseason training.
Yeah, that checks out. And Darl, are you planning to swim it all over the summer?
Yeah, I'm definitely going to swim over the summer no matter where I end up. I don't know if I'm going to be here in Fredericksburg or back in Richmond. But, I mean, I have to, especially now that we haven't been able to swim for going on, 2 months now. I have to swim. I want to swim, but there's nowhere to go unless we go to the Y, and there's no time for that right now because it's near finals. But, yeah, I'm going to be swimming over the summer for sure.
Yeah, dude, man. Logan, I don't know if you know this, but I hurt my shoulder in like mid-January, and that kind of like ended my season. So, but I'm almost done. I got one more week of PT, and then I can hopefully get cleared to start easing back into swimming. I've been itching for it. So hopefully this summer I can get in some good work, man, and finish off my career on a high note next year. But getting you boys on has got me excited.
Are you guys going to do meets over the summer?
I mean, probably not me, because I've got to build back slowly and really try to work my way up. And I'm doing some head coaching for a team down in Richmond, like a summer team. But we'll see, man. I mean, if it comes down to like late June, mid-July time, and I'm feeling like I'm in shape, I'll throw my hat in, why not?
Yeah. I haven't fully decided either. If I'm going to be here, I'll probably be swimming with Rays. So maybe like one meet if I'm feeling like I've done a lot of work, just to see what I could do.
Yeah, let's run that relay, Darl. Let's run it.
I'll run that.
Yeah. Logan, are you going to be back here in Virginia?
Yeah, I'm coming back middle of May. So I'm going to go to super sectionals and then maybe the quad meet, and then I'll flip a coin on senior champs.
Nice, dude. Well, I should be there even as a spectator if I'm not in competing shape then. So hopefully we get to catch up then a little bit. But as we kind of move toward the end, just to talk about your successes that you guys have had in college. Both of you have improved a ton since high school, but I'd love to hear about what you think has attributed to that, and also what are you looking towards with one more year of collegiate swimming? What are your goals for that?
I think for me, this is going to sound weird to say, I think I had no choice but to improve with how little time I had before college to start swimming. I think I had nowhere to go but up. I mean, like going into college, I think I was like a 22 low 50 freestyler, and I think I'd like just broken 50 in the 100. So I've been able to drop every year, thank goodness, but not purely off of the fact, but I think largely due to the fact that I started swimming so late and that I don't have the space to plateau yet. Hopefully that doesn't hit this year, because I kind of want to keep improving. But I mean, some of the sets we've been doing have been really helpful. 50-50s. I love 50-50s. It's like right down my alley. Ego challenge, as much as I hate it, it's going to make you better whether you like it or not. So, I mean, also I have to attribute part of it to the team. I think we've been pretty fortunate to have a good team behind us when it comes to the end of season meets and mid-season meets. It's a lot of energy that you can feed off of. I get a little bit of teasing for being a relay swimmer, because I am and throwing down faster times on relays than I would do individually. But I mean, I just love the energy. And that's part of the reason I love the sport.
Yeah, no, that's huge. Relay swimming is like, I don't think there's anything wrong with being a relay swimmer, honestly. Like, being a relay swimmer is the best swimmer to be. Like, something that really motivated me to keep improving was like, it wasn't my last race in high school, but it was like one of my last races at senior champs my senior year, in that 4x1 free relay, and we were like in the outside lane. We were losing to William and Mary.
I remember that.
Yeah. That's probably like my favorite moment in swimming, and that just chasing that feeling, constantly improving, like trying to get on the relays here, because like I said, our relays, like I'm not in the relay right now because our relays pretty insane. They went to NCs, they got some dogs, so just like trying to get on that relay has really been motivation for me to keep improving. Like I came into school at like 21 mid and like 46 like mid and like 142. And then this past season, I was able to go like 20-point mid, 44, and 139, which was like a pretty good like feeling, just being able to drop to that. And like looking back and seeing like where I've came from to where I'm at now has been like such a fulfilling feeling.
Yes, sir. And I'm sure that probably keeps you motivated as well, right? Like knowing that you've still got unfinished business and there's more to go.
Yeah. And just like keeping that chip on your shoulder is a huge thing. Like, and swimming's a hard sport to stay motivated for. And I'm sure it'll sound really corny, but you just got to like race those people next to you in practice. Like in the moment when you're racing them, like they're your best friends, like you love them, but you got to be doing like everything you can to beat those guys in practice. And that'll help you push yourself like further than you can normally.
Absolutely. Yeah. With you 100% on that one.
I have one more thing to bring up, kind of with a chip on your shoulder. I had a memorable moment like the senior champs in high school, but on the other side of the spectrum, it was when I was going for the Iska cut and 50 free. Paul, do you remember that? When I like went for it in the individual and then I didn't make it. And then I went for it in the 100, didn't make it. And then I went for it, declared the 50 the 200, and I missed by a tenth. And it was like in that moment, it was like I could either quit right there or I could try harder. And I remember walking up to Jonathan, and he was like, I know it sucks that you didn't get it," and I was like, "I just want to go back to practice." That was all I could think about for the rest of the meet. It's just I just wanted to go back to practice. I remember he told us to not come in on Monday if you went to senior champs, and I showed up on Monday morning, and he was a little upset because he was like, "What are you doing here? You need to recover." And I was like, I feel like I had done enough to earn a recovery. I just wanted to get back to work, and I've kind of kept that moment in the back of my mind, just be like I have come a long way. Like right now, like that Iska cut would be a breeze. It's like a dual meet time. So
Yeah, man. Hey, it's good to recognize that progress and take all those experiences and learn from them. I certainly have a few that I remember that I just don't want to feel that way again. You guys thinking about swimming post college at all, whether that be masters or just trying to compete on your own for a few years?
I'm not sure. I mean, I think for me that would be like a cross that bridge and get to it kind of thing. Just see like what I'm going to be doing after college, because obviously, like yeah, I have to work. But if I have the time, if I have the time and I'm in the right place and I could swim a little bit on the side just to stay in shape or maybe even compete if I have the opportunity to compete at a decently competitive level, then probably.
Yeah, I think for me, it's like it really just depends how next season goes because I got some goals in the back of my head that I've had for a while, and if I can hit those goals, I'll be comfortable hanging them up. But if I don't hit those, I'm gonna have to keep pushing.
That's kind of the boat I'm in, man. I've got one more year of collegiate swimming, and hopefully that goes well, getting back healthy. If I'm pretty close to it, again, like Darl said, we'll cross that bridge when it gets there. But I think I want to swim masters for at least a few years, man,
Mhm,
while I'm young. So if I'm in the Richmond area, that's a pretty easy thing to do.
mhm.
But I want to try out some different events, man, like butterfly, breaststroke, things that I didn't necessarily, focus on in high school or college, and see how far I can take those while I'm still young. I feel like that'd be a lot of fun.
Get those sprint events in, Paul. Just like the zones days, bro. Just like the zones days.
Dude, yes, sir, man. Oh, yeah, I missed that. Like one of the few times I got to be on that in like high school swimming like 50 frees on relays. So I miss those days, but
That's
I leave
fun,
that
bro.
to Darl now.
Let Darl.
Yes, sir. So I guess just to finish off, I've done like some rapid fire questions with other people, but I know both of you guys appreciate the sport just as much as I do from the
Mhm.
professional level. So I talked about this a little bit with Brett 2 weeks ago, but do you guys have predictions for who you think is going to win the 50 and 100 freestyle on the men's side at the Olympics?
I think it's always hard to predict the winner. I feel like there's always a dark horse, and it's one of those events you can try and say like the top seed's gonna win, but like you never know. I think who I'd want to see win at least for the 100. I mean, obviously, I'd like to see an American flag on top of the podium. Trying to think who I just don't know who could do it. I mean, the guy from China, Pan. We were talking about this before the podcast. Pan, I don't know how to pronounce his last name, but going 46 three times already, and he's like 0.17 off of his own world record, and they're like a few months out from Paris. So, I mean, I feel like it's hard to call. I'd like to see Jack Alexi up there for sure. I mean, Caleb Dressel's coming off of a down. He's on an upward now, but see him sort of in the mix, maybe at least fun, maybe not still him.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be this Olympics or 2028 are probably gonna be like some of the most competitive things we'll see, especially on the sprint side. Like in that 50, you got guys like Cam McAvoy, Dressel, Alexi, like even like all the guys from France, they'll all be in that mix for the 50. And the 100 free is kind of at that same situation with Popovici
Yeah.
Dressel. I'm blanking on the guy's name from Australia. This is like
Chalmers.
Chalmers. Yeah, he was
Kyle
just like
Chalmers.
47 low. Yeah. So
Mhm.
I mean, it'll be a toss up between them, but I don't know. I gotta go with our guy Dressel. Like, you just gotta to watch the story where he's came from, like the stuff he's
Yeah.
gone through, and now he has that dad strength. You know, I think
Yeah.
it'll be hard to beat him.
Dude, and he just won the past 2 Pro Series. And
Yeah.
I mean, so Dressel's never one that's super stellar in season. Like, I mean, he'll usually go 48 mid to low, 100 freestyle long course in season. And then he'll taper and go like 46.9 or 47.0. So I've still got faith in him. I'm going to say my 50 freestyle winner, I'm going to go Dressel. I've got to go Dressel. He's been 21 a couple times in season now. And again, that's good for him. So I think he's tracking well. In the 100 free, if he's allowed to swim, and this is assuming that, you know, we've heard all this stuff about the doping situation, still learning a lot about it, not really sure what's going to play out, but I've got to go Panzan Lee. I mean, we just saw him go 46 for the 3rd time in his career. Nobody else has ever done that before, but Chalmers is going to be in that battle. He might throw down a 46 and take that. Popovich, he's looked really strong recently as well. And then I think Dressel's going to be good in the 100 free. I think he's going to make the individual spot. I don't think he's going to medal or be the fastest American. I think Jack Alexi's going to sneak in for that bronze medal in Paris. I really do. I think it could take a 46.9 to medal. We could see a world where it's like Panzan Lee 46.6, Kyle Chalmers 46.8, and then like a Jack Alexi or a David Popovich like a 46.9. But like Darl brought up, man, especially these sprint races, it's so hard to tell. And we still need to see Australian and the U.S. Olympic trials to know.
Yeah.
But yeah, Dressel and McAvoy is going to be a good battle in the 50. I think Ben Proud will be there, but I don't know, man. That 100 is going to be insane. I'm looking forward to it.
And even like Leando can be in that mix, in the mix for like him training down there at Florida with Nesty and those guys has got to be. I'm not sure if he'll be able to medal in the 50, but he's definitely got to be in the mix for those.
I think so too. I think his best shot is the 100 fly, which again, that's another event that's just so loaded, dude. Like, I mean, we just saw No Ponte. I'm blanking on his home country, but he went like a 50.1. And then, I mean, there was an Australian back in the fall that went a 50.2. Dressel and Hubert Koch going 50.8. So, dude, that's going to be loaded. Melock is back too.
Don't sleep on Thomas Hallman, bro. Don't sleep on Thomas Hallman.
Hey, Virginia homegrown man. I can't sleep on him. I think he's going to be a bigger threat in the 200, though.
Definitely, yeah. But I feel like he's got a chance in that 2 fly to get in that medal. Like getting 4th at Worlds, especially with like who knows what Carson Foster will end up doing. Like I don't know. Him and Luca Orlando will be a good duo for that 2 fly, I think.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like Carson's going to go all in on the 2 free, 2 IM, 4 IM. He's got a good 2 fly. We know that. I don't know if he's going to elect to swim that. We'll just have to see. But yeah, I think Thomas has got a really good shot. I think he's got a good shot to win that event, dude. He's on a crazy good trajectory right now.
And have you guys paid attention to like what's going on in Virginia swimming? Like how fast these kids have gone?
Yeah. I went to senior champs this past short senior champs. It's ridiculous.
I was there as well. We were on deck when Kyle Peck and Thomas Heilman went 19.7s in the 50 free. Like nobody was doing that when we were there, man. Yeah. Nobody.
Yeah, I was 2nd seed in the 100 free my senior year, and I went 46.5, and those guys were dropping like, I'm like pretty sure you needed to be like 45, like mid to even be top 8 in that this year. There, it was crazy.
Yeah, and the depth is ridiculous now, dude. Just to make top 32, it was like 47.1 or something like that, which would have been B final probably when we were in high school. So
I remember when I was in high school, I remember when I was in high school, like the winning time at states like a 46.6 or something, or like 46 mid, 46 high. And now to win states is going to take like the kids up in Nova and like 6A are going like 43s, 44s to win. That's ridiculous.
Yeah. Darl and I are seeing that trickle down effect, man. D3 is getting faster too. It's taken a 43 and a 19 to win our conference every year in the 50 and 100 free. And then 100 back. Some years it's a 47. Some years it's a 48. I mean, those boys from Rowan, TCNJ, Merchant Marine, they're throwing down. So it's definitely motivating. Like Mary Washington, we want to be in that conversation. Our women are winning, but, the men, we want to earn our respect too. So we've got a good recruiting class coming in.
We were in the same situation here. Like our women's team had won like the conference like 5 years in a row, and then they lost like my freshman year, but then they got it back last year, and then like the last 2 years we had BYU and UCSB like pretty much like, for lack of better terms, like kicking our ass. And then just like seeing that women's team win and like seeing those rings, like looking at the other team win a ring, it's like if that doesn't fuel you to get your own, it's like I'm not sure what will.
Yeah, seriously. It is one team at the end of the day. At least for us, like we're in the pool every day with the women. So we're all pushing each other, and a lot of our women can train really fast. So there's no days off. But yeah, man, I know we're running a little bit low on time here, but guys, like I could talk all day about this, and especially with the pro swimming we were talking about at the end. I'm thinking about when Olympic trials comes around for the US, like, maybe doing something like this again, trying to see if I could do a prediction video once the psych sheets come out, just go down each event and make predictions. So boys, let me know if y'all are interested in that. I feel like that could be fun.
Yeah, I'd be down, bro. I could get you some hot takes on there. Some hot takes.
That's what I'm saying. We could do like who's going to make the event, and then we could do the dark horse, bro. Gotta always pick the dark horse.
Gotta do that, bro.
Darl, you interested in that?
Yeah, of course.
Let's do it, dude. Yeah, that's going to be a good one. Maybe we could even get some special guests on there, bro, if we can try. That'd be good. So
Brett Hawk back on the pod.
Hey man, I'd love it, dude. Brett was awesome. It's gonna be really fun to watch these next few years, dude. Like, I'd love to get out to one of these big meets, trials, Olympics, and watch it. But who knows, man?
This year
We'll see what the future
stadium.
holds. Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Trials the Colts football stadium is gonna be nuts.
Yeah, Brett asked if me and Coach Ben were gonna be there, and man, I wish, but dude, who knows? Maybe if tickets go on sale, I'll fly out there for a day. It's not too far from Virginia, so I feel like that'd be pretty sweet.
Maybe drop a 201 200 for them. Get the invite yourself.
Man, I don't know about that one. We'll see though. Who knows? That'd be pretty cool though, man. Anyways, guys, well, dude, that's a 2 free time. I mean, like, that's wild. Anywho. Well, anyways, guys, thank you all for joining me again, taking the time out of your day. Logan, I know it's the middle of the afternoon wherever you are, and Darl, it's starting to get late for us. So hopefully we talk soon, and maybe we can get one of these trials prediction videos going. So I'll keep y'all posted on that if I get some details.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'd love to, man. Thanks for doing this, and keep killing it, Paul. Keep it up. This stuff is great.
Yes, sir, man. Hey, I'll make sure I get you boys some reels, and we'll post the reels up. I'll tag you guys, and we'll see if we can go viral. I think we got some interesting stuff on here today.
We got to.
Awesome.
I could say some crazier things if you want to go viral. Just let me know, bro. I'll just say some
Man, hey,
things.
we'll save it for next time, boys.
Yeah,
we'll save it for next time. The unfiltered episode.
Yeah.
All right, Joe. Take care.
Cheers, boys.
See you, boy.